Welcome to That's Good Broncos post-draft analysis. We're a day late talking about the Broncos draft, but that's just because Will and I personally flew into a city between Sacramento and Denver, where we live. So Boise. We went to Boise. We got into a hotel room. And we just grinded through all of the tape. All of the college guys the Broncos drafted, because there's only 5. So we're like, let's watch it all.
Every snap.
Yeah. Every snap, every angle. Sometimes we watched it 3 times. Sometimes we watched it 4. And what was our final grade, Will?
S.
Yes.
For superb.
Superb. So better than an A. Anybody who gave the Broncos an A, fucking idiots.
Idiot, moron.
So stupid, those idiots. God, I hate
them.
Don't
know. They don't know ball. Clearly,
no.
They got. I would say 3 first-rounders without having a first-round pick, plus Sean Payton, who was our first-round pick. Yep. We also watched Sean Payton highlights.
Yeah,
a lot of them. But not like the Saints, just like him in press conferences and ripping bongs too.
Oh my God. Yeah. I just watched that instead.
Do we know yet if that was really him?
Never been confirmed whether that is actually Sean or denied. Yeah. I actually watched Kevin James training to play Sean Payton in the movie highlights.
Yeah, he was a lot of people don't know this, but he method acted for that role. He actually coached the Saints for a year.
Yeah.
That last year, their losing record, that was Kevin James on the sideline.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Wait till you see him rip off the Sean Payton mask. Gonna blow your mind.
Yep. That's in the bonus features of the DVD of a movie that was on Netflix, I guess.
Yeah. Hey, Netflix, could you send me the DVD? Oh, you can't anymore? Dang.
Right. Damn, that was I used to love getting those DVDs in the mail.
Yeah.
That was the best. I remember I got the last one I think I got was Boogie Nights, and I just never sent it back. I just kept it. I said, nah, this is mine now.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember. I'm trying to think of I don't remember the first or last one I did. One of the last ones close to it was The Sopranos season 6 or 6B, the finale.
6B.
I watched that on Netflix, and I thought the DVD messed up because I burned it.
Last scene.
Yeah, I thought it messed up, so I reordered it, and it was the same ending.
You didn't ask anyone who watched it on HBO live?
No, it was later. It was after it had aired.
Oh, okay. Because I remember, even being a younger lad, the controversy surrounding it.
Yeah.
Personally, I liked it.
I detached from knowing what happened, so I wouldn't be spoiled. And it was easier then because there was no Twitter.
Right.
There's no YouTube.
Right. Well, it was a simpler time, better time.
Yeah, there was just YouTube happening. So anyway, today we will talk about the Broncos draft, and maybe we're a day late because Will went to the Kings game and I got a little cold and didn't feel so good, so we just waited till today. But we're here now.
We're here. We're ready to break it down. Should we start before we get into the picks? We have a couple pieces of news that are not necessarily draft related.
Do it.
So first of all, this came out today. The Broncos picked up the 5th-year option for wide receiver Jerry Jeudy. This felt like a no-brainer to me. Even the Marvin Mims pick, which we'll get into, that didn't feel like an indictment on anybody but really KJ Hamler, who was their 2nd pick.
Yeah.
In the 2020 draft. I'm glad to see Jerry sticking around. He came on really strong at the end of last season, starting with that game that we're seeing right now, the image against the Chiefs, where he caught 3 touchdowns, nearly snapped the streak, the infamous streak against the Chiefs single-handedly.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's going into this season as wide receiver 1.
Rightfully so.
Mhm.
I think Sean Payton saw what we all saw as like, oh yeah, he is really good. You just got to give him the fucking ball. Got to get him the ball. Put him in the X. Put him in the X. Let him cook. Although Sean Payton said they're not going to really have set roles for anybody. They're going to play all over the place.
I like that.
But yeah, I like that he's coming back. I like that they got a guy who might be better than KJ Hamler. I hope KJ's healthy, and I hope it's a situation where they don't know who to have on the field because they're both playing so well. We haven't been in that situation for a while.
Yeah.
So that'll be nice.
And you have to it feels like you have to factor in one major injury a year at wide receiver, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you have to at wide receiver, but
you have to plan for it.
You have to plan at like minimum, like hamstrings, ankles, where somebody's going to miss some time because those athletic positions, like that's just kind of the nature of it.
It's the nature of the beast.
Yeah.
And we've encountered that the last feels like 3 years, starting with Cortland Sutton going down in the second game of the 2020 season against Pittsburgh, and that following Von Miller before the season, that was just a telltale sign that that was going to be a lost year.
Yeah. Jeudy's had some injury things as well.
Yeah.
But it's great that they got that 5th-year option. And maybe we see Cortland Sutton running some more slant routes like Michael Thomas.
Like Michael Thomas. And
Sutton also being the guy that Russell Wilson can actually see running a slant route.
Right. Yeah. That's kind of a big one. You get Tim Patrick back. He's a pretty tall dude as well.
Yeah. So it'll be fun. And I think what I really liked about the Marvin Mims pick is I don't think any of us thought they were going to go receiver with their first pick, and they moved up to do it.
Yep.
And it just got me excited about the offense. And they got a guy that they were really high on. They traded up to grab him. He drew all the comparisons like right away to Emmanuel Sanders, right?
Yeah.
So I just said Brandon Cooks so we could be different. I said, no, he's Brandon Cooks.
Hopefully that doesn't mean he gets traded.
No, I said he was going to set the record for most trades ever. First receiver to play for 32 teams and start for them all.
By the end of his career, it's going to be like 36 teams spanning several continents.
That's what you want to do as a receiver, catch a touchdown for every team. That should be somebody's goal.
Yeah, it's going to happen eventually.
That's like a receiver / influencer. My mission to catch a touchdown for every team.
Yeah, it's like a Tom Grossi should do that. He's got some receiver experience.
Oh, he does.
He could probably pull it off, him and Ben Kurt. I think too, like thinking back to the heyday of the New Orleans Saints, they were always deep at wide receiver. You know, whether it was Colston or Devin Henderson. I remember they spent a first rounder on Robert Meacham.
Yeah.
And then Lance Moore was always kind of a fun guy too.
Right.
So I think this is kind of what Sean Payton likes in an offense, just having a lot of depth there and a lot of versatility too, just different kinds of like bodies and skill sets, and allows you to do a lot of different things on offense.
Yeah. You got 5'8", KJ,
yep.
5'10", 5'11", Mims.
Yep.
Jerry Jeudy's what, 6 foot, 6'1"?
I think he's 6, yeah.
6'3", 6'4", Sutton and Tim Patrick. So yeah. And then what's Albert O's like 6'4", 6'5", right?
Yeah, he's a tall guy.
You want to talk about the tight end since I just mentioned one?
Good segue. The Broncos, during the draft, pulled off a little swapperoonie for tight end Adam Trautman, who was with the Saints.
3rd round pick, right?
Third round pick back in 2020. So I think he was taken ahead of Alberto, actually, and has caught kind of a modest career so far for the Saints. Caught 4 touchdowns, 60 career receptions, 641 yards. His biggest year was Sean Payton's last year, and he reportedly asked for a trade, not being very content with his role there last year with Dennis Allen as the head coach.
Oh, wow.
I just don't think he wanted to play with Derek Carr.
Yeah. He said, fuck that guy.
Fuck that guy. No, thank you.
He said,
Get out of here.
He said, listen here, New Orleans, I want you to trade me. There are 3 quarterbacks I refuse to play with. 4. First of all, get me away from Derek Carr.
Yep.
Second, do not trade me to Patrick Mahomes. Don't want to play with that asshole.
Nope.
Do not send me to Justin Herbert. Hate him. Don't want to play there. And I swear to God, if you trade me to play with Jimmy G, I will come back to this trading facility and burn it down. Anywhere else I'm open, and Broncos were just the right fit. So
guys like Patrick Mahomes famously no chemistry with their tight ends.
Nope.
So good to avoid them. Did you see the clip of Travis Kelce spiking the Lombardi trophy?
Was that the actual Lombardi though?
I hope not.
Or did they have a replica?
That must have been a replica. I wonder, like, how many, when you do win the Super Bowl, how many like Lombardis do they actually give you?
I don't know. They got to have a few. It's not like the cup, you know?
Yeah. I think you should get like one for a display case, one to just kind of like hand around like the Stanley Cup to different players and just take it out. And then, one to destroy.
Yeah.
Like, remember when Tom Brady tossed it across the bay during their parade? That was cooler than Kelce spiking it, I thought.
Oh, yeah. It was way cooler because, like, Tom doesn't get drunk that often. So it was just funny to see Tom all loose. Like, it was like the first time we saw Tom be like a fun,
normal,
like, seemed like
person.
A fun dude. Like, oh, yeah, I'd hang out and have some beers with Tom.
Yeah.
Travis, we're like, dude, we can't party this weekend anymore. Like,
no, yeah. Travis
asking me to hang out, brah.
Yeah, he just always looks intense.
Yeah. I mean, he did hold his own festival, so sounds like he enjoyed it.
I would have to say so. But yeah, I mean, what does this say to you about the aforementioned Alberto?
I don't know if it says a lot about Albert O. I think it's more of like the competition for that 3rd tight end spot is going to be heated, maybe. I guess like my thought would be is the only way it's like puts Albert O in jeopardy is if they really think the line needs that much more help in the blocking department, because that's the other thing Trautman does well, right? Is he's very good at blocking, and that's why they brought in Manhertz. So we're either getting Manhertz or Trautman out there, and I think the upside with Trautman is he also has receiving ability, but maybe, if he wasn't fully satisfied with his role, he wants more pass catching opportunities, and he'll push Albert O or Dulcich a little bit. But I think Sean Payton will see once they start practicing that they have 2 very talented ball catching tight ends that they need to get in space in Dulcich and Albert O.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just think it's like a really solid depth piece. And even if like they decide to move on from him, they swapped late round picks. They just liked him at that point better than any of the other tight ends available.
Right,
so
right.
I like that Sean Payton knows him. I like having a couple guys in the locker room and in the the position rooms that know probably what Sean Payton likes to do, because I think that helps other dudes get up to speed. So it seems like a really small thing, but like it feels like a smart move to me, if that makes sense.
Yeah, very, very low risk. We know that they were looking at tight ends in the draft, and it was a really deep tight end class this year. But yeah, I think they just looked at their options, looked at Trautman. They have him for another year on a rookie contract. And like you said, like if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. You swap the 6th and the 7th. It's not the end of the world. But let's look at the guys.
The one thing I was gonna say, because I don't know, and maybe you do, is like how often did he play special teams?
I don't know. Given his role in the offense, I would have to imagine he played quite a bit.
Because I think that's been important too. And I think Marvin Mims, I watched an interview with him on Good Morning Football from early March, and he's like, I'll do everything. He's like, I'll play special teams, I'll return, I'll be gunner, like I do all of it. And I was like, I bet that was a huge selling point for Sean Payton, because he's really doubled down on telling us how terrible our special teams have been.
Yeah, he doesn't have to tell us. We know.
No, we know.
We're painfully aware of that fact. It's been like that for a few years.
Yeah. All right, Drew Sanders. Now, here's a guy I learned a lot about after you and I were like, what the fuck was this pick?
Yeah, I mean, I think the fact that it kind of reminds me of the Baron Browning pick in a way from a couple of years ago, given that.
Oh, yeah.
I think he'll probably start, or not start as in like start games, but like he'll start out on the inside. And then given the kind of like wide receiver, the attrition rate for edge rushers on this team, it's a good option to have because it's a ton of sacks last year at Arkansas.
Yeah. No, he's just crazy athletic. The fact that he played edge most of his college career, or that's where he was at Alabama, and then moves to inside at Arkansas and plays really well there, speaks to the versatility. Again, not really a need there for the Broncos.
Not totally, because they re-upped Alex Singleton, who had obviously a great year, but
depth will take it.
They're always looking for a guy to cover Travis Kelce.
Yeah,
which I'm not sure such a human being exists.
Yeah,
but you got to try. Right?
And this guy's 6'4", so he's like as tall as Travis Kelce. So, I'll take.
Why not taller?
6'5".
Get someone taller than Travis Kelce.
Tall. Here's like a little weird theme though. It's like Vance Joseph, right? When he was in Arizona, they draft Isaiah Simmons, who's I think was 6'4", played safety linebacker hybrid.
Yep.
Then they take this 6'4" linebacker. And then the safety, they took JL Skinner, also 6'4". Then you got Simmons, 6'2". Like we've got this really tall back end of the defense. You don't see that a lot. It didn't really work out in Arizona. I don't know how much Vance's influence, the way he wants to run like his defense, like maybe affected some of these picks, but just something to consider. It's tall for an inside linebacker. It's tall for a safety. Is it good or bad? I don't know. I'm just saying it's tall.
We know that he's not going to be like a Singleton type, like a thumper, which is I don't know.
Two of those basically.
Yeah, you need a couple of those guys. It's just good to have versatility. While you brought up JL Skinner, like he is a thumper. That's kind of his thing. He's not like necessarily a huge cover guy, but he had 4 interceptions in 2023. So he can. That's of course playing in the Mountain West.
Right.
But yeah, that gives them, they have the free safety, kind of center field guy, obviously, and Justin Simmons, one of the best in the league in terms of that aspect of it. And you get Caden Stearns back,
Yeah.
too, who had a couple picks before he got hurt. They were talking to Kareem Jackson before the draft. I think this probably puts a lid on that, unfortunately. As fun as it would be to have him back, he really just didn't hold up in coverage. His job was, ironically, as a guy who started as a corner, kind of a line of scrimmage type player. But I like this pick.
Yeah, and I think like safety's suddenly a position that has it feels like it has really solid depth, right? You got Simmons, you got Caden Stearns, PJ Locke. We saw a little bit of Delarian Turner last year, and then Skinner.
Seymour.
And it also at linebacker, right? Because you talked about injuries to receivers every year, linebacker injuries.
Yeah.
Last year was supposed to be the coming out party for Jonas Griffith. Hurt was like week 1, week 2, he got hurt. And that's why like Singleton got the opportunity to play and proved he's the Swiss Army knife out there. The year before, Josie Jewell. So, yeah, adding Drew Sanders, making that 4 inside linebackers of Jewell, Singleton, Griffith, and now Drew with Justin Stranad, who also got playing time last year because of injuries. And kind of more of a mixed bag from Stranad, but also I remember him making like some impressive plays. So, like, I feel good about those depth positions, and that's kind of like heading into this draft is what you're expecting. It's not like they're getting maybe full-time starters from day one. You could argue Sanders might turn into that, or, Mims might turn into that, but feels like they added really, really good depth pieces.
Do you think any chance Riley Moss is a starter early on?
I mean, I don't know I don't think week 1 he's a starter, but that's just because I like our starters. You got Surtain.
Yeah.
And then you got K'Wan Williams in the nickel or slot, right? And I think both you and I liked Damari Mathis last year. He looked like a rookie at times, but it felt like he was getting a little bit better every week. So I don't know, starter, but I feel like he's going to get snaps.
Yeah, well, I think that's definitely the case, just because he's versatile. He's versatile, and I think another part of this too is like you see Riley Moss come off the board, and you obviously see that he's a white man, and you're like, oh, they're going to move him to safety, right?
Like before they were even finished reading his name, they're like, safety, convert to safety.
Safety, put him at safety.
Maybe slot receiver? Could he play slot receiver?
Yeah, kicker maybe. I don't know. Give McManus some competition in the preseason. No, it's like,
can he add 40? Can he add 60 pounds and play guard?
Yeah. we just drafted our center. We traded back into the 3rd to draft our center.
He's quick though. Like, and there was this clip of him like smoking dudes on the track, but I think it was from high school, and he's racing against other like white kids, so I wasn't impressed. But like his 3 cone time at the combine, I think was 3rd fastest for any of the corners. I forget what his 40 is, but he's quick enough to play corner is the point.
Did we find out, is this the first white corner since Jason Sehorn?
Yeah, pretty much.
I know like the Commanders drafted Troy Apke either last year or a couple years ago, but I think they moved him to safety.
Makes sense. Brandon Cristal straight up asked Sean Payton about Sehorn, and if like there would plan
Sehorn was a Giant when Payton was there.
Yeah. So he was like, Sehorn, we actually went from safety to corner. Like he watching Sean Payton dance around the fact that he was asking about a white corner is really funny. I'm pretty sure I retweeted it, but if not, just check Brandon Cristal's Twitter page.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, I don't know why people get worried about talking about it.
No, it's funny.
It's funny because they're just not. There are literally zero. There were literally before Riley Moss just got drafted, 0 white corners in the NFL. And it's because they're not athletic. We're not athletic enough to play the position.
No, it's people one of the most, it's the hardest position to play, I think, besides quarterback.
Yeah.
It's the most athletically taxing.
You have to cover the most athletic person on the field, and you have to be able to keep up with them running backwards. And fighting off like physicality.
That's simply not our strength.
No. Watching we can anime on the weekends undisturbed. Here we go.
Yeah, I think so. I think a lot of different people can do that. He's definitely, you have to resist the urge to say like, yeah, he's going to be a safety. He's going to bulk up and become John Lynch. I'm sorry, people. You have to put away your prejudices.
Yeah, quit being so racist towards us white corners.
Many people are calling him the Jackie Robinson of the cornerback position.
Breaking down barriers, Riley.
Yeah, breaking down barriers. It's not going to be an easy road for him, but I believe in him. I believe on him. This is from Mile High Report. He generated the 5th lowest EPA per target and the 12th highest PFF coverage grade in the entire 2023 corner class.
I saw a thing where he had the highest PFF grade of any corner, but I think that was for entire college career.
Oh, yeah, it might be. In case. Who knows? Like, I don't even think PFF can get their story straight.
They're like, we don't remember what we said. They're like us. We don't remember what we said about that guy.
Yeah, except they except they pretend to know what they're talking about.
They're like, we know we didn't call him the Jackie Robinson of corners, Will.
Yeah, we've got that going for him. No, I think it was definitely, we talked about it before the draft. Like, we wanted to add a corner.
Yeah.
And I don't think he was on our radar at all. I don't know if I think they had a brief visit with him, maybe at the combine.
Yeah, I think he might have had a top 30 visit with him too.
Okay.
I felt like I saw that he had a visit.
You might be right. I think they did a good job of not tipping their hand with most of these picks. Not that it really matters, as long as you get the guy that you want. But I think they overall, no one was expecting wide receiver in the second round. We certainly weren't expecting to trade up. It was nice for us when we were streaming it. And then they traded back up after we stopped the stream, of course. And they eventually hit center too, which a lot of people wanted with the first pick. But a couple of those guys that it seemed like they were targeting came off the board following the Mims pick. Yeah, let's the last guy, Alex Forsyth, center from Oregon.
Yeah.
Got a massive wingspan, 81.5 inches.
Oh.
That's a lot.
Give me a Forsyth poster where it's just his head and his wingspan, and he's palming a football.
Palming basketballs.
that was because that was the old Jordan one, right?
Yeah, I think so.
I want a Forsyth one.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like another instance where he's not going to start right away, and you never expect that of a 7th round player, but it just adds more competition. Cushenberry is in the last year of his deal as a 2020 pick. You added Kyle Fuller from Seattle because he feels comfortable having Russell Wilson's hands in that region. And then Forsyth, you add him to the mix, and you kind of just hope for the best.
I'm trying to find. How do you spell Forsyth? Forsyth?
No, just Forsyth.
Damn it. I thought it was Mitchell Schwartz. Really liked Forsyth.
Yeah, Mitchell Schwartz. He is the
one of the Schwartz brothers. Apparently gave.
Yeah.
Was it Jeff? Did? Okay.
No, I don't know. It seems like a.
Yeah, he's more active on Twitter. Let me just
Jeff is the guard, right? And Mitchell is the tackle for the Chiefs.
Yeah,
I'm confused quite a bit.
Either way, like they were talking about how good Forsyth was, and they thought it was just a steal for the Broncos. So that's like a late round pick. Nobody really probably cared about or saw coming that, maybe he doesn't even start day one like you're saying, but turns into a starter there. I think if you're looking at like guards or centers, finding those players in the late rounds happens a lot more frequently than other positions. It's just
you generally don't find tackles in the 7th round.
Yeah,
good tackles, I should say.
No, it's a lot harder for sure.
You don't find good tackles in the 2nd or 3rd round generally either.
No, they're gone. They're usually
gone. They're gone in like the first 15 picks.
Yeah. Because if they're not taken up like in those first 15 picks,
something
it's the good teams are grabbing their tackles later in the draft.
Yeah. Yeah. And we didn't need a tackle, which is nice. Well, you thought we needed a tackle.
I did?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I'll always take a tackle. Corner or tackle, if you draft it, I'm down. Also, like we don't know when Garrett Bowles is going to be like ready to go.
Good point.
So,
good point.
That would be another reason for a tackle, but once he is healthy, I feel good about Bowles.
Yeah, of course. And, they shored up guard. Dalton Reisner's still a free agent, right?
Yeah.
I know DNVR was kind of positing this question, but you think there's any – would you maybe reach out to him, get some depth there?
Yeah, it can't hurt. Like, Reisner had one really good season and then was never as good as that season. Had some rough stretches, but like it was never like so horrible, right? And maybe it's just because it is guard position and it's not isolated tackles where we're seeing Michael Schofield get beat by Khalil Mack 5 sacks and Gary Kubiak's like, fuck it.
You're refusing to put it out like, to help.
But for a depth piece, yeah, you'd be thrilled to have Dalton Reisner on your team. He's a good dude. Like players like him. Didn't he win like the Broncos like community award guy, or I don't know the fucking title, but like that's the kind of guy you want around. So wouldn't be bad. Yeah, but there might be better guards available still. I'd have to look. But this is what Schwartz said. Forsyth is going to play 10 years in the NFL, tough as nails. So smart. Happy for him.
Only 10 years.
And then he's retiring.
I'm looking for 15 at least out of a 7th round pick.
You're right. But anyway, that's a guy who played the position professionally.
Yeah. We'll take it. Any more? Oh, we have some. I don't know if you wanted to talk about it, but I have a list of undrafted free agents as well.
Yeah, give them to me.
So they had a visit with Art Green, who was a corner out of Houston.
Okay.
Who was on their list. They got him. Just some kind of notable ones I thought were Emmanuel Wilson, running back, Fort Valley State. They signed 2 running backs, which was notable definitely that they didn't draft one. And that might be good news in terms of Javonte Williams' recovery prospects. We all certainly hope that he comes back, fairly quickly and is mostly the same player when he does return. And they passed up on a lot of running backs too in the draft.
Yeah, no, they did.
So they got Wilson, Fort Valley State, Jaleel McLaughlin, running back, Youngstown State Penguins.
Yeah, I watched his story off of their Twitter page. He's definitely a dude I'll be rooting for.
A couple of tight ends. You got Nate Adkins, South Carolina. You got Chris
Always in
Leach.
shape, never eats carbs. Next.
Right. Nutritionist. Chris Leach, tight end, Kent State. Another one. Let's see here. 2 linemen. First one, not gonna. Alex Polchowski, I think.
Yes.
Illinois.
And DeMontre Jacobs, huh?
I'm seeing Henry Bird from Princeton.
I see DeMontre Jacobs on their depth chart.
Oh, interesting. Maybe he was a camp invite.
Maybe. They got one of our best named players.
They did. Are you talking about Thomas Incoom?
Yeah, but I call them Thomas Incom. His nickname, if he's good, will be the Corporation.
Is that the corporation from Office Space?
No, I forget that is.
I forget too. Stapler. Yeah, outside linebacker, Central Michigan. And then, a couple linebackers. The other one being Seth Benson.
Inatech. It's Inatech.
Inatech. Yes.
Sorry.
We're going to have to.
I didn't hear anything you said after Stapler.
Seth Benson, linebacker, Iowa, teammate of Riley Moss. And then, a couple corners. I said Art Green. Then Darius Gaines, Western Colorado. I think they got, if you're getting undrafted guys, you got to get a couple Colorado guys in there just because it hurts when they go to play. When they go to teams like the Chargers.
Yeah. Smart enough to get Lindsey, but not Eckler, right?
Eckler would have been real nice.
And even when the Chargers drafted Vincent Jackson too, that stung.
Yeah, I was watching an old Buccaneers game. God, he was so good.
Yeah, he really was.
When they had him and Mike Evans, that was quite the tandem there. I like Josh Freeman too for a while.
Yeah, we need to do a Freeman video.
Yeah, that's a good point. He fell off of a cliff very, very quickly.
Yeah.
One of the worst Monday night games of all time when he got traded to the Vikings or released and signed with the Vikings. I don't remember, but look forward to it in a new Balls Deep for sure. And then so they got a Deion Sanders guy too, Dallas Daniels, wide receiver, Jackson State.
Oh, nice.
You see, Deion Sanders was upset.
More of his guys didn't get drafted.
Yeah, I think there's one HBCU player. They got drafted in 7 rounds. I don't know. We'll
Deion is Deion.
Deion's
he's contradictory.
Yeah, it's like, didn't she just leave?
Yeah, he just left. He's also like
take all those players too.
Taking an approach where do it my way or get the fuck out of CU, which is caused a bunch of people to leave, but they got a bunch of people coming in. Deion shit does not stink. And don't get me wrong, I am very excited for Colorado Buffalo football. I love the attention he's brought. I love the guys that are coming in and want to play there. It's the smartest thing the Buffs have done. But Deion he's arrogant. He's very arrogant. He's very cocky. He always has been. He's always had enough to back it up.
It's always worked for him.
And now we'll see after one season if it works there. I hope it does.
Yeah, I will just say this: it's gonna be a big story if they're not good.
Yeah,
he's gonna get a lot of heat if they're not good, and I think it's gonna be tough to be really good right off the bat.
No, you're probably right.
They'll obviously be leaps and bounds ahead of where they were last year, because they have to be. But it's really hard. It's not like the NFL. You don't just like turn a college program around usually in one off season.
No, it took a while for Harbaugh at Michigan, right?
Michigan, yes, even Stanford.
And they had better. They were sitting in a better spot, weren't they?
Right. Yeah, and no, even back when he was at Stanford, like they were not a very good team, and then they upset USC, I think, in 2007, and incrementally got better.
They'll be better because it's hard to be worse at this point.
Right. Yeah, just like, I don't know, if you're a CU fan, which I don't know, I'm rooting for them, but I
will be rooting.
Set expectations
I hope they're good. I hope we get the cockiest, most arrogant version of Deion Sanders, because that's when he's at his best. But him getting mad that players from Jackson State didn't go. Do we really think a lot we're going? I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't know. If NFL teams, they're just drafting the best players. I don't think they care where they come from.
No. And hopefully his guy Dallas Daniels makes it. Receiver. Damn, I was hoping he was tight end.
Very much. Oh, that would have been a great tight end name. Dallas Clark and Owen Daniels.
Yeah. Dallas Goedert too.
Dallas Goedert. Yeah.
If your name is Dallas, you better play tight end.
Dallas Daniels, kind of a porn star name.
Yeah, you're right.
Sounds like it to me. I don't know. Devin Matthews, safety, Indiana. Another wide receiver, Taylor Grimes, Incarnate Word. They were really good last year, D2.
Cool.
So, that's I think we covered just about all of it.
Yeah, I saw they brought in a long snapper today too. So
thank God.
Yeah, I think I had no expectations going into this draft, and it felt after the draft was over, and again, take it with a grain of salt, but it felt like people outside of Broncos media, national coverage, very excited about what the Broncos did in terms of they got great value for all these positions. Really solid draft for the Broncos. That's kind of the consensus. And that's about all we could hope for when, you're picking as late as they did. So,
yeah. One more question I want to ask you is, were there any players specifically that you would have liked them to take that you kind of had your eye on and were disappointed that they just passed over?
Yeah. Keely Ringo, I thought they could grab. And then that one's is that just me getting excited about a name I heard before the draft? And then the Eagles take him, and I'm like, it just made me hate that they didn't take him more. And he might not work out, but it feels like the Eagles can do no wrong right now. So he was available late. You brought up Deuce Vaughn when we were streaming. That would have been fun. I think just the connection of Darren Sproles playing with Sean Payton. So you get this other short speedster there. It's just kind of fun. Maybe Deuce Vaughn could be the Broncos' Darren Sproles.
Yep.
We'll see about that.
It's Tyler Beatty right now.
Yeah, we got Tyler Beatty. And we'll see how Darnell Washington works out with Pittsburgh, because Washington and Ringo were both available. And that's when they took Drew Sanders, I think, when you and I were like looking at those guys. And the Steelers, consensus, great draft. And everybody loved the Washington pick for them as well. So, those are two guys that they could have had, and we'll kind of monitor. What about you, Willie?
I liked Deion Henley, the outside linebacker from Washington State. Excuse me. That was another case too, where it's like, okay, we didn't get him, but he went to the Chargers. Oof. And I think he's gonna be a really good player. But yeah, I don't know. Between him and Drew Sanders, and Sanders hopefully better anyway. But definitely like a cover guy. Scored good at taking the ball away and scoring too, which is a nice thing to have. Another thing about Riley Moss too, he scored a few touchdowns at Iowa.
Yeah, 2 pick sixes, 1 game, I believe.
Yeah. So he's got that high school track speed for sure.
Yeah,
they're calling him the white Deion Sanders, maybe the white Aqib Talib.
Ooh.
You just got mossed. You got Talib, you got mossed.
That's right.
The best R Moss in NFL history.
Boom. Nailed it. All right. That's our draft coverage. Appreciate you guys watching. Sorry for the delay. We'll be back sometime.
Eventually.
We'll be back. We're working on some things. For the Broncos YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Hopefully I'll have more info soon and can update you guys. But
look forward to that.
That's it. Good night.
And John Elway played his entire career with one singular ACL.
Yes. Any other quarterback done that shit? I don't